Have you ever driven around with a friend and had a really good conversation? Did you ever think to record it? Well, I did. Check it out. Alright. And welcome to Balcony Babble. Obviously, today, we're not on a balcony. This is a special episode in the car. Today, I have a special guest, my friend Edwin from high school. And at some point, my roommate in college. But today, our topic is going to be Edwin getting ready to go to Japan. His preparation, what he's going to be doing there, and what he hopes to gain out of it, how he hopes to assimilate. So I guess we'll just start with, how do you plan to kind of get assimilated with the culture a bit to the best of your ability?
Well, Japan's one of those countries where you can't really ever fully assimilate, and I guess my plan is to just know as much as I can about the culture and their little nuances, so that way, like, I'm not constantly sticking out like a sore thumb, even though I will. It's good to know, like, just kind of little things, like, about the way people act, that's different there than it is here. Like, really respecting people's personal space is, like, a really big thing over there. Whereas here, I can go up to you, even if I don't know you, I can shake your hand and it'll be fine. So that's kind of one of the things that, like, what I'm going to be doing to try to assimilate.
Alright, and I know we have a mutual friend over there, Shin.
Mm-hmm.
So do you plan on really, like, just hanging around with him, or do you hope to just kind of hopefully meet a lot of new people, even though, like you just said, the culture's kind of closed off?
Well, I do expect to meet a lot of people. For room and board, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be staying in something that's called a share house. It's kind of very similar to what it would be like staying in a college dorm, except everyone is working. I mean, there might be a student here and there, but everyone pays like a monthly rent, and they're big enough homes where usually you have 8 people living in them, and some of the times they're foreigners, sometimes they're not, and that's kind of the way that I'm planning on meeting new people. Also, I hope Shin will be there to help me get my feet off the ground. I don't want to be there, like, bothering him all the time, so yeah.
Right. And of course, working, what do you plan to do?
So our buddy Shin owns a restaurant over there. It's a gastro pub, and just to kind of get my feet off the ground, I'll be working with him, be it bartending, wait staff, or even just being a dishwasher for now. Like, it's just to get my foot in the door in another country, and then to go from there to, use some of my expertise to work in, my desired field.
So, what goes in to preparing to move to a different country like this? I mean, there's so much that I'm sure not everyone can even grasp the steps you have to take. So, what's some of the stuff you've been kind of focusing on?
Is one of the things that I'm definitely kind of preparing for is the language barrier. I've studied Japanese in the past, but it's been so long, it's just, I have to kind of restudy a lot of the old stuff and kind of get back to where I was. But that's definitely one of the things I'm doing to prepare. And honestly, I'm kind of doing this just to, like, I'm going for it, and I'm not putting as much thought as I think I am, which I don't think is a bad thing, because when it comes to making a big move like this, you don't want to think too much about it, because then you're gonna fall in this loop of, like, what if I don't make it? What if I can't do this? And I don't want to fall in that kind of loop.
Right, but something I'm also like, so you have to open a new bank account, right? Like, you gotta do all this different stuff, right?
Right. But that's stuff that happens once I'm there. And I would have to have Shin give me, like, a Japanese name to write on the papers, because, like, my English name won't fit on the applications. Even though my name's not long, that's just how it works. It's really interesting.
Okay. So what are some of the stuff you're excited to experience while you're living there?
Honestly, just day-to-day life. Just day-to-day life. I'm excited to have that realization hit that when I wake up, I am in a different place. I'm somewhere new, where everything has its own fresh, for me at least, will have its fresh start. So that's kind of the one thing I'm looking forward to. Also doing, things that have to do with the Japanese culture. For example, in the springtime, do hanami, which is watching flowers, like the cherry blossoms bloom, which is something that I've always wanted to do.
Well, something interesting you told me was a lot of people think that you got into Japanese culture because you like anime, but you came to me and said that's not the case. So what did get you into Japanese culture?
It was, so at the middle school that I was attending, we had the offer, we were offered a bunch of different languages to learn, and Japanese was one of those, and I was like, well, this is different. This is not French. A bunch of my friends are taking French. Spanish, I already speak that at home. I don't need that. And I was like, well, this is different. Sure, whatever. I'm gonna do it.
Right.
And I hated it.
Oh.
I thought it was really hard at first, and then I had one-on-ones with my teacher at the time, and she really demonstrated to me the differences in the culture, and she was native from Japan, so she had a lot to teach me. She had a lot to give. So at some point I ended up loving the culture and the way that people lived over there. And then I kind of got into anime later on in high school, way later, which I still think is pretty funny.
That you got into the anime after the culture instead of
a
lot of people doing the opposite?
Yeah. Everyone is usually oh, I really like Japanese culture. I started watching anime when I was young, and it's there's so much more to Japanese culture than anime or J-pop or J-rock or all that kind of pop culture stuff. There's so much more to it.
And do you feel that specifically a lot of Americans them being so those who are so cringe kind of invested into the culture, I guess I'll say. I don't know the proper way of really saying that. Do you think that's going to make it harder for you to be able to, I mean, again, you can't fully assimilate into the culture, but, kind of get yourself in there without kind of people being oh, is he just one of those weebs? You know what I mean?
No. I don't think I'm going to have a problem with that. Only because, I'm not going to go over there presenting myself oh, everyone watches anime. No. Nobody, not everyone watches anime. Here, not everyone watches anime. In Japan, not everyone likes anime either. So it's I'm not going to go over there expecting that. I think what a lot of people are these cringe-worthy weebs, they say, oh, I want to go to Japan because they want to escape something here. And that's not the case for me. And you if you're weird here, you're gonna be weird over there. It's that simple. It's that simple.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I hope I don't run into that problem, but I don't think I will.
No, I don't think you will either, but it is something to think about. You once told me that you don't even like wearing anime shirts as much anymore, even though you're wearing one right now.
I'm wearing one right now.
But you did say, you were sometimes I feel a little off about it just because of how...
Yeah. I'm okay with wearing, for the most part, subtle anime shirts, even though this isn't very subtle.
That's not very subtle.
But, when it's just, my friends, I'll wear whatever. I don't really care.
Right.
But if I'm going out, I try to keep it to a more subtle thing. Like, for example, I guess the best way to show it is how I have, like, my keychain, which is, I think, pretty subtle.
Yeah, it's true.
So, and my reasoning for that is because also even though anime is more mainstream now, I still have, like, that weird, like, oh, I like anime, I'm a little weird, like, stigma behind it. And I guess that's kind of why. But, I don't know.
I mean, you go to Walmart, you can find My Hero Academia merch.
Yeah, but you don't see that. You didn't see that back then.
No, you didn't.
You didn't see that back then.
Back when I was watching Hitman Reborn in middle school, and we all cringely wore these, the power rings or whatever the hell.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
What are you gonna miss most about America?
Bro, fucking cheese. Oh, sorry.
I don't care.
Oh,
You can
okay.
curse. Go ahead. I said bitch in the last episode. Go nuts.
No. So, cheese. I'm definitely gonna miss cheese. As weird as it sounds, cheese isn't as common in Japan. Like, dairy products in general, they're not as common. Or they're not as easy to access here, like, as here. And so it's gonna be cheese and, like, anything that has to do with dairy, pretty much, like bacon, egg, and cheeses and stuff like that. It's just the stuff that's not necessarily common, like, there. I don't know. Oh, fuck, I'm gonna miss cheese.
You said specifically bacon, egg, and cheese.
Yeah, but that's a Northeast thing.
That is a Northeast thing. You can't get that too far out of here.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I wish you luck with that. I'm not going without it. I mean, I'll visit you, but, like...
Oh, I mean...
Of
yeah.
course. But...
The plan's to be there for, at the most, 2 years.
Right.
At the least 6 months.
So,
it really depends how I feel.
What do you hope to do during... You mentioned doing a trial period. What do you hope to do during that trial period? Like the 3 months you said? Because obviously, you're not just going to go cold into 2 years. So what do you hope to gain out of that 3 months of preparing there?
Yeah. So to kind of explain to the viewers what he means by the 3 months is the Japanese tourist visa is 90 days. That's I can't work under those 90 days, but the idea is to have enough money to have rent for those couple months, and to just kind of see how I feel about being there by myself. Of course, I'm gonna have Shin there as well to help me with any paperwork that I have to get done. But just to kind of, like, see how I feel, if I'm feeling comfortable. If I landed, like, a job outside of Shin, then that's kind of that'll be like what I do to stay.
So you did mention, obviously day-to-day life, but what are some of the, like, I guess, activities, some of the areas that you're more excited to visit and what you hope to do in those areas?
Yeah. So, like, sure, there's Tokyo, and the where I'll be staying is Setagaya, which is a part of Tokyo. It's not, like, in the middle. Think of it like almost how Stanford is from New York. And I kind of want to visit a lot of the surrounding areas there. I want to visit Yokohama, which is 20 minutes away from, like, Tokyo, and I want to be able to see more of, like, rural Japan. So yeah, that's kind of like what I want to see the most. Of course,
you mentioned not wanting to visit what we called the anime capital as much. You mentioned maybe once.
I will go to Akihabara to experience it.
Right.
I don't know how I will feel about it. I don't know.
It's still gonna be fun just because there's a lot of tourists. I mean, clearly, I hate to say it, just because there's a lot of tourists doesn't mean it's not worth the visit.
No, it's not even because of the tourism. That's not even the problem. It's just I still will feel weird expressing loudly my interest in anime, even though
I mean, you're doing this on a camera.
I know, but like
in a Sailor Moon shirt.
Okay, I know what you. I didn't realize what I was putting on today. It's just, I don't know, because like I immediately associate like the cringy weebs are like, oh, I want to go to Japan to go to Akihabara, you know, I want to go there and cosplay, right? Like, I'd rather go to Harajuku and see like the fashion that's there, or I want to see, you know, the Chicano culture that is in Japan, because believe it or not, Japanese people celebrate, or some Japanese people celebrate Chicano culture. And if you don't know what Chicano culture is, it's Mexican culture. It's really weird, and I really want to see it.
So let me get this straight. You want to go to Japan to see how your heritage is celebrated over there?
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, because why not? I mean, I'm not Mexican, but I want to see what it's like for, you know, people outside of the U.S. to celebrate our customs.
Right.
Like how they take it. So, yeah. Interesting.
So, you mentioned no cosplaying. What about New York Comic Con?
I'm stepping out of my comfort zone for that.
Right.
I'm 100% stepping out of my comfort zone for that. Because I've never truly been comfortable cosplaying, but since everyone in our group is doing it, I don't want to be the one that's not doing it.
Right.
So, I'm gonna do it.
Well, going back to Japan, you said you were excited for the nightlife.
Yes.
You also said you wanted to go to the hot springs or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you plan to still do that?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna go to an onsen, which is a Japanese hot spring. And I'm just gonna be naked with a bunch of other dudes. Who cares? I want to try it. I want to try it. Not the being naked with a bunch of other dudes, but like the the experience of being in a hot spring, because that's kind of unique to over there. Like, it's a very popular thing. But it's interesting because, like, I mean, I don't have any tattoos, but if I did, it would be very hard for me to find a place to go for that. And then Japanese nightlife is just, well, who doesn't want to experience nightlife in another country?
All right, well, I think we're about to go grab coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And then we will come back with an actual sit-down conversation, not in the car, where we will discuss me being Edwin's awful personal trainer, I guess we'll call it. Me and Edwin spent a fair amount of the past, what do you say, like 2-3 months?
2-3 months now.
2-3 months working out and attempting to eat better. And so we're going to talk about our experience there on, I guess is off the ledge, but we were never on the balcony for this episode, so...
True.
So, stay tuned for Off the Ledge, even though we were never on it for this episode. Alright, I'll catch you guys in the next one.